As our presiding officer knows, I'm no longer the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, but I am the senior Democrat, and I've served on the committee for about 15 years. And the issues of security of our homeland, whether it's from cyber attacks or terrorists or any number of other threats, is one that I have thought about and care a whole lot about. A couple of months ago, I'm sure the presiding officer recalls, and all of us probably recall, that at the other side of the Capitol, we had a special visitor, and he addressed a joint session of the Congress. And his name was Francis. He is the Pope. It was a papal visit, and he addressed a joint session of the Congress. I'm not Catholic, but I was moved, and I know a lot of our colleagues were moved, especially when he invoked in front of a national television audience the Golden Rule, when he called on all of us to treat other people the way we want to be treated. And also when he invoked the words of Matthew 25, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was thirsty, did you give me to drink? When I was a stranger in your land, did you take me in? Did you take me in? And the prospect of 1,000 or so Syrian refugees coming to this country this year and more next year is when I hear that, I think of that the desperate plight of a lot of people that are trying to escape hellacious situation in Syria. They've been living in some cases months or years in refugee camps. What kind of moral imperative do we have with respect to them? What kind of moral imperative? What kind of moral imperative do we have at the same time to ensure that the folks that we allow to come in refugee status to this country, that we're going to protect those of us who live here, from possible threats that might be caused by that immigration? And this week I've learned a few things that, Mr. President, I didn't know before. There's a lot more I have to learn. But among the things that I've learned this week is when folks who are refugees, whether they're in Turkey or someplace in that part of the world, or whether they're on the other side of the world in Pakistan or any other place, refugees, when they seek to come to this country, they don't get to come just like this. It's not like I'm going to apply as refugee status to come to the U.S., and I would like to come this week or this month or even this year. The average wait for folks who are in refugee status trying to get someplace out of a refugee camp, and could be here, but if they're especially trying to come here, the average wait for those refugees is not a week, it's not a month, it's not a year, it's a year and a half. And for folks who are of Syrian descent, the wait could be even longer. I'm not going to go, Mr. President, through all of the hurdles that folks have to go through, but it's a screening process that begins not with the Department of Homeland Security in this country. It's a screening process that begins way before that with the UN High Commission for Refugees. They first register refugees. They gather biometric data, and they gather other background information. Only those who pass the UN assessment are ever referred to the United States for possible resettlement. In a case where we're looking for maybe to accept 1,000 Syrian refugees this year, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees may interview 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 refugees or more to come up with a list of 1,000 that we would even consider. Those refugees are interviewed not when they get off a plane here, but overseas before they ever get onto a plane. Before they ever get onto a plane, they go through any number of multiple background checks and vetting, and then use biographical checks conducted by the State Department, security advisory opinions from intelligence and other agencies for certain cases, National Counterterrorism Center checks with intelligence agency support, Department of Homeland Security and the FBI biometric checks, Department of Defense biometric screening. And then when they get here, if they get here, after going through all of that, then they have the opportunity to be interviewed again, face-to-face, by the Department of Homeland Security folks who are trained to be interviewing people alleging to be refugees, could be something else. And then if they get approved to stay here as a refugee, then we continue to monitor them for an extended period of time. For the people in our country who are led to believe, as we were a year or so ago with folks who remember a year or so ago with Ebola? when there was great concern that, we're going to let a lot of people come here across the border with Mexico, and they're going to have Ebola, and they're going to infect us all, and a lot of people are going to die. Not one American ever died from Ebola contracted here. So I would have us just take a deep breath, try to gather the facts, and understand really what somebody's got to go through in order as a refugee ever to get here. And it's not an overnight, a 1 week, it's not a 1 month, it's not a 1 year deal. If I happen to be a bad guy over there wanting to come over here and create mischief, I'll tell you, I sure wouldn't go as a refugee. I wouldn't cool my jets for a year and a half trying to get through that process. I'd find another way.